Hiya. Hi everyone. God, I haven't done a video in so long. This feels extremely weird and it's putting me out of my comfort zone. So looking into a screen and staring back at yourself, especially when you've just woke up and you've got your bed hair on, is interesting. But anyway, it's always good to put yourself out of your comfort zone. So I've come back onto social media slowly but surely. I've had a huge break. I don't know, something just come over me and I was really struggling to go on social media. So the last 6 months or so has been one of them, sort of that integration time, if you like. But over the last 3 months, we've had a real interesting energy in the air. And it's been quite difficult. It's been a really difficult time. And right up until my birthday last week, there's been, I was massively, dipping back and thinking, what's going on? Why am I going back into this feeling? And, when you can't shift stuff and it's just like sitting there and you're like, why am I feeling like this? And so I was coming to the end of a cycle anyway, because I was turning 42. So, and obviously our life goes in 7-year cycles. So I was coming to the end of that cycle and I was moving forward into that next part of my cycle. So there was a lot of stuff coming up. And interestingly, there was a lot of stuff happening last week that was very much connected into my teenage years, into that cycle 14 to 21. And that was the sort of second cycle I was finishing. Anyway, so... And I know I'm not the only one feeling it. I know that there's lots of people out there feeling it. And there is a message really that I want to talk about. And it's talking about not so much being in victim, but needing that outside validation and that outside connection and that love from outside to make yourself feel whole. Right, so we search for that, we look for that. Maybe it'd be for a post, maybe it'd be for a video, maybe it'd be for a comment, or maybe we're just searching from it from our loved ones, from our friends, whatever. There's a part of us that is searching for that validation. And when we get that validation, we feel like that's going to make us feel better, more loved, more accepted, and I can feel whole again. But actually, that outside validation does not make you feel whole, because ultimately that has to come from within. So if we do not validate ourselves from inside and we do not love ourselves, the rest won't follow, because it's a reflection of how we are feeling. So we can't expect that validation and love from others unless we are truly validating and loving ourselves. And that was the message for me this week. And it was a very, very strong message, because I was, in the grips of that, like that difficult teenage part. This is what it felt like, a difficult teenage part of us that we've maybe not progressed out of because we had a traumatic time in our teenage years, and so we're still stuck there. I'm saying stuck loosely, right? Because we're never stuck, but we're still in that place and in that process, and we're really trying to move out of it. And then there's something there that needs to be validated, because as a teenager, our peers are really important, and and we're going through this cycle of how we feel, what we feel like, what do we look like, do our friends like us, and it's a really difficult time. And if you're in a school setting as well, it can be difficult as a teenager. So that sort of sticks with us, if you like. So that I felt like the last few weeks has definitely been really concentrating on that self-worth and creating opportunities to not allow myself or ourselves to self-sabotage. And we self-sabotage because we're trying to control our feelings, because we don't feel in control, because we don't feel accepted and loved. And the reason we don't feel accepted and loved is because we're not accepting and loving ourselves. We aren't validating who we are because of our programming, or because of trauma, or because of a comment someone said, and we start making these things up in our head. And actually that's because that's how we feel. And it's not necessarily true. Sometimes things can be true, like I'm not saying that they're not, but so it is important to really understand ourselves and where these feelings are coming from. So when you get triggered, or when you go into that victim mode, or when you feel like, you're not loved, or, when you feel these feelings, you need to ask, where are they coming from? That's what we need to do. We need to sit down and go, right, where is this coming from? Because it's coming up for a reason, and it will keep repeating until you can see it. So you need to be able to see it, right? And you need to accept that this is a part of you, a shadow side that's allowing yourself to live in this space. And that you need to just see it. Okay, right, I see that I am, trying to get some validation from outside of myself because I don't love myself like I think I do, or I don't love myself because you know that you don't love yourself. And then you've seen it, right, okay, I can see it now. And then you need to really embrace it. That's a part of me, that's a part of my journey. That's what happened to me. And naturally, this is how I'm going to feel. And that's okay, because that's a part of this human journey. And that's a part of what my journey was that I chose to come here and partake in. So, okay. And then once you've embraced it, you can start moving through it. But if you cannot see your own shit, you will never move through it, because it will just circle back. You might think you've moved out of it, and it will come flying back to you and go, hello, excuse me. We haven't got through this yet, and we need to show you again. And so it's not that things are coming to you because you've done anything wrong, you're a bad person. It's nothing to do with that. It's because life wants you to grow, and it wants you to progress. You're not here to be at the bottom of the pile and be drab and drear and tired and, and feeling that feeling. That's not what you're here for. It's trying to nudge you, and it's okay, to feel that way, right? Your feelings are validated. Of course, our feelings are always validated, but just don't live in it. Just don't live in that victimhood for too long, because that can be a slippery slope. But feel it, see it, bring it in, embrace it, love it, accept it, and move through it, and work on always, to me, the answer is always self-love, self-validation, self. And that's not selfish. So we've always been programmed to believe that thinking of self is selfish, but that's bollocks. It's absolute bollocks. That is a program that's running, and that's why we all find it so hard how to concentrate on ourselves. So anyway, the message is listen to yourself, listen to what's coming up for you, and we need to just stop seeking validation and love from outside of ourselves. Of course, we want to be loved, right? That child in us wants to be loved. Everyone wants to love and feel that love, right? But you're never going to feel it unless you love yourself. Okay. Anyway, thank you everyone for listening. And I've got this far of me rambling, and I will hopefully be back soon.